This video is sponsored by Shortboxed, the easiest and safest way to buy and sell graded comic books. Download the app today using the link in the description. Regie here, and I want to welcome you to another installment of my Blue Ocean Spec series. In this video, we are going to take a look at 3 Blue Ocean books that have some potential to increase in value. The very first book that we're going to talk about is Spawn issue number 1. And no, it is not the one you are thinking of. We are specifically talking about Spawn 3D issue number 1, the Mocha edition that was released in 2006. Every collector knows about Spawn issue number 1, but what a lot of collectors are not aware of is that there was a very limited 3D edition released as an exclusive for the Todd McFarlane retrospective at the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art. This 2006 exclusive was sold only at the museum to those who patronized the exhibit and was extremely limited. According to comicspriceguide.com, the total print run was only 1,000 copies. And this book features a really awesome and dope cover by Todd McFarlane himself. The book came bundled with 3D glasses, so if you do find a raw copy, you want to make sure that the 3D glasses are bundled with it. The CGC versions will oftentimes come with the 3D glasses in the package, but not in the case itself. Spawn is a beloved character, and issue number 1 is prized by collectors, but is extremely easy to find given the large print run, unlike this 3D issue number 1 that we're talking about. There are over 16,000 copies of Spawn number 1 on the CGC census and 107 copies of the Spawn 3D Mocha edition on the census. Because this book is not plentiful, it is not easy to determine a clear fair market value. The last sale of a CGC 9.8 was around $307. Cover price currently has the raw FMV at around $120, but the range of recent sales goes from $30 to $150, and most are from 2019. This is probably the most expensive book that we've highlighted in this series thus far, but given the popularity of Spawn combined with the scarcity of this book, it's one that we feel might have some potential down the road. One thing to keep in mind is that this series is about highlighting books that we think could have some potential. At the end of the day, you are going to have to scrutinize the things that are said, do some additional research, and figure out what it is that you want to do. Book number 2 is God Country issue number 5, released by Image Comics in 2017. This series is a critically acclaimed creator-owned property from Donny Cates. And if you have not read this series, I encourage you to check it out because it is honestly incredible. I remember sitting at my kitchen table reading all 6 issues in one setting. Over the last couple of years, interest in God Country issue number 1 has waxed and waned as development and scripting news has come out, but then there's been these long lulls in between. Legendary Entertainment is currently developing God Country, announced in 2021 for Netflix with the showrunner of the successful Sweet Tooth comic adaptation. As collectors and speculators focus on the various copies and prints of issue number 1, there are some opportunities to pick up some books that are being left behind in long boxes, and that is part of the reason why we focused on issue number 5 of this series. God Country issue number 5, in our opinion, features the first full appearance of the big bad guy of the series, Adam. It also somewhat tells of an origin for Valofax, the all-important, giant, powerful sword at the heart of the series. If you break it down, Adam appears on 14 pages across the entire 6-issue series. That's a 2-page cameo in issue 2, 5 pages in issue 5, and the rest in issue 6. For this reason, we believe that issue 5 will be considered the first full appearance of this important character. Cover price lists the raw FMV for this issue at $7.60. There are about 100 copies of this comic that have been graded by CGC on the census, but the vast majority are a variant cover featuring Spawn because it was Spawn Covers Month. Less than 20 copies of cover A and cover B appear on the census. So why are we talking about cover B all of a sudden? Although we are not 100% certain, we think that cover B could be the first cover appearance of Atom. Now take this with a grain of salt because there are a lot of variant covers out there, but we think cover B might be the one that you want to be on the lookout for if you happen to be hunting in the wild. The third and final book that we're going to talk about is Wild Cards issue number 1, released by Marvel and Epic back in 1990. Wild Cards is a popular fantasy adventure book series created by George R.R. Martin, famous for Game of Thrones. In 1990, the Marvel Epic imprint created a mini-series based upon these books. Wild Card issue number 1 features the origins of important characters from the novels, but so do some of the subsequent issues. So if you're out there looking for issue number 1, you may also want to keep your eyes open for the full run. Wild Cards is set after World War II when an alien virus, the Wild Card virus, is released over Manhattan. Some people who survive receive amazing superpowers called the Aces, while the majority are made monstrous. Wild Cards was optioned by Hulu and was in development, but in 2021 it was reported that the series was moving to another streaming platform due to the sale of Hulu and the IP rights to the show. Will we see a Wild Card series at some point? I honestly don't know, but given the track record with George R.R. Martin, there is a very good chance that some magic will be made. Wild Cards issue number 1 sits at the opposite end of the spectrum from Spawn 3D issue number 1. This comic is incredibly cheap. Currently, Wild Cards issue number 1 has a raw FMV of $4.50, and there is no established FMV for the graded comics. In fact, we cannot find this comic or series on the CGC census. The issues from this series can regularly be found in discount bins, so you may want to be on the lookout and pick up a couple of copies if you spot them in a back issue bin. So there you have it. Those are the 3 books for this month. I hope that you enjoyed this installment, and if you did, I want to encourage you to hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment behind, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I want to encourage you to do that as well. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.